Hello and welcome back to my channel. Girl, it's been a whole month talking about I'm gonna be here once a week, every Thursday. That's how it started, right? And we gonna give myself grace for that. We actually gonna acknowledge the first 4 videos because they were every week. But I realized coming straight out of straight out of being laid out into unemployment that I might have rushed into making a commitment to make a YouTube video every single week right out the gate. So I'm giving myself grace and mercy, and we are back. We are here. This morning I was talking to my husband about a concept, and I'm like, yo, this is a great YouTube video, and I need to share this with people. So you know how we all have this kind of inner critic, right? Or we have this kind of self-talk that lives within us, and the inner critic and the self-talk that I'm talking about, or this kind of essence that lives within us, is primarily negative, right? So it's saying things like, you're not good enough. Why should you even try? Like, you're not gonna do it correctly, or you're not gonna be successful in this, or your body doesn't look good, it looks crazy. You look in the mirror, you don't like what you see, and this inner critic comes in and tells you how bad you are and how you're not doing things right and things of that nature. We all live with that. What I've come to realize, and what I was telling him about this morning, is that voice within us is always going to exist, right? Like, it's always going to exist. And I feel like nowadays people are constantly having conversations around, just use affirmations and like try to combat this inner critic and this voice that we have within. Try to combat it with affirmations. I am good. I am progressing. I am working towards something that's bigger than me, things of that nature, right? And I found that the problem with this is that we are combating something that will always be there, right? Like, if we think about this concept of, there's two, let's say that you had a good side, right? And then you had an evil side, and they live on your shoulders, right? Both of these sides will always be within you. There's no way to kind of flick this side off and just keep this side, because then we'll kind of be off balance, right? Like, this side will always be here. The negative side will always be here with the positive side, right? So instead of using our energy to combat that, meaning like, I'm gonna use these affirmations, or like, I'm trying to force myself to not think these things, and when we actually do that, we give more power to our inner critic, to this negative self-talk, whenever we're using things to combat it, right? So to visually put it, let's say we had 2 cups, right? We had a cup that is our most powerful self, a cup that is our positive self, a cup that is the full essence of who we are when we are at our best, right? And then we have a negative cup, and this is our inner critic. This is that negative self-talk telling us that we're not good enough and things of that nature. Every day, what's so amazing and what we have to realize is that we have the power to choose, right? So every day we make a choice. We make a choice to either pour into our good cup and empower ourselves and pour power into that cup, or pour into this negative self-talk, right? Negative, like, for instance, if you woke up in the morning and you automatically had this self-talk that said, why are you even getting up? It's not even worth it. You don't even like this job. Like, you're doing all this effort and no one is recognizing you. Like, it's just better to stay in the bed. You shouldn't even try, right? In that moment, we have a choice. Again, negative, right? The positive cup or the negative cup. In that moment, we have a choice. We have a choice to either feed into that. And when we feed into that, we're literally pouring into that cup. We're literally pouring into the self-critic, the inner critic, the negative self-talk. We're pouring into that if we choose to stay in the bed. If we say, yeah, you're right, I'm not good enough. Yeah, you're right, like, I shouldn't even try. And a lot of times we don't use those words, right? It's usually like, yeah, I should stay in the bed longer, and like, yeah, I'm just so tired, or why even give the effort? So you stay in the bed. So at that moment, you made a choice. You made a choice to feed into the negative, the inner critic, the negative self-talk. So you poured into that cup. In another version, that same morning you wake up, same self-talk. I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't even need to get out the bed. I just stay in the bed. In that moment, you have a choice. And when you choose, nope, I'm not listening to that. I'm going to acknowledge that you are there, and I hear you. Like, I hear you saying that. But guess what? I'm more powerful than that. And I'm actually using my power to fill my positive cup. I'm using my power to actually get out the bed, ignore what you're saying. Yes, I acknowledge that you're there because you'll always be there. But you're not the person that's making the decisions in my life. The person making the decision in my life is the positive, the moving forward, the growth mindset person, the person that's progressing towards something bigger than myself. And you pour into that cup, right? So every day we have a decision to make. Are we going to pour into the cup of the inner critic, or are we going to pour into our powerful cup, the cup that is the essence of who we are at our core, right? And when you think about this, when you say, well, damn, Kay, like you're saying like, this inner critic is always going to be with me. That's so annoying. And like, can I just make it go away? No, you actually can't, right? And it'll always be there. The key to this whole scenario working is that you acknowledge it. You acknowledge it. Okay, I hear you saying that. Okay, I hear you saying I shouldn't even try. But I'm not going to feed into that. I'm going to pour into my positivity cup. So I am going to try. And I am going to put my best foot forward. And I know that you're there and you're back there watching and you're hoping for the worst, but I'm going to pour into this cup and hope for the best. And eventually you have your two cups, right? You have your negative self-talk, your inner critic, and you have your positive, most powerful self. And these cups, every day, remember, you're making a choice on which cup you're going to fill. If you continue to feel the negative self-talk, the cup, like let's imagine this was a cup of water, and every day I'm feeding into that. Yeah, I'm not good enough. My body image is terrible. I'm not beautiful. I don't have the glow. I'm not the it girl. I'm not, right? Continue to pour into that every single day. Eventually, the cup will overflow. And what happens when you pour into a cup until it overflows? It spills, right? So this is a cup of water. I've been pouring into it every day with feeding into my negative self-talk. The cup then spills, overflows, and now you have water everywhere. And that's what happens in our lives, right? Like the water is now everywhere. It's all over us. And now we got this big old mess. That's what happens when we feed into our negative self-talk, right? Like it becomes so big. It becomes so loud because you're filling it up. You're filling it up. It becomes so loud that that's the only voice that you hear, right? Do you ever wonder like, why can't I get this voice out of my head? Like I want it to just all go away. It's because that's the cup you've been filling, and now it's overflowed, and now it's all over you. It's everywhere. So now you have to take a step back from everything, and you got to clean up this mess. You got to clean up this water that has now spilled everywhere because you've been filling this cup. Now, what does that look like? That means stepping back from everything and focusing all your attention on getting right within. Right? Like, and I'm not talking about affirmations. I'm talking about reading books, going for a walk, moving your body, whatever spiritually is healing for you. Maybe that's in getting a deeper relationship with God. Maybe that's tapping into the universe a little deeper, right? And all this time you're cleaning up this water that has spilled. You're cleaning up this water. You're cleaning up this water. You're cleaning, right? Everything. And slowly this cup is going down because this cup of negative self-talk is going down because you've been cleaning it up, right? And as this is going down, you know, all those actions that you're taking, the spirituality actions of getting closer to God, the spirituality actions of journaling, the practice of journaling, meditating, reading self-help books, taking the course, doing building up your skill set, you're pouring into this positive cup. You're pouring into the most powerful version of yourself that you can ever become. And this negative cup is slowly going down. Again, this cup will never leave. This cup will never leave. It will always be here. But as long as you're pouring into your positive, your most powerful self, the cup that fuels you and feeds you, empowers you, as long as you're pouring into that, this cup just stays empty, right? Those little thoughts still come up. Those little thoughts of like, I'm not good enough, or should I even try it? They will still come up, but they just won't be as loud and they won't be as messy because you haven't been filling this cup, right? So like the essence of this entire video and the entire thing that I was telling my husband this morning is like, we got to stop focusing on trying to like combat this negative self-talk and instead empower ourselves and focus all of our energy into pouring in the cup that fuels us, pouring into positivity, pouring into healing, pouring into therapy, pouring into working out and moving your body, pouring into taking the course and building the skill set, pouring into starting the business, pouring into loving the friend a little deeper, pouring into forgiving yourself and others, right? And this cup becomes so full that it also, that's what's so beautiful. Just like we had the scenario in the negative self-talk that overflowed and was all over us, the same happens for the positive, right? Like the same happens in the essence of this begins to fill up because you're doing all the things, working out, moving your body, taking the course, starting the business, sending the email, sending the DM, stepping out of your comfort zone, right? And pouring into this cup, and eventually it overflows and it spills just like the other cup. But guess what? Now what's all over you is an unstoppable, secure, dominating, right, force. You become all powerful because now this thing is overflowing and it's all over you. It's not a mess to clean up. You want to roll around in this water that have just overflowed from how powerful you become over time, right? So like the biggest takeaway is to understand we have to acknowledge our inner critic, understand that it'll always be there, and then choose to power our most powerful selves. Choose to pour into the biggest, greatest version of ourselves that we can possibly become, right? So anyways, it's so good to be back. I'm gonna be here more consistently, right? And y'all hold me accountable. I hope this was helpful. If you found it helpful, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment and let me know, like, what should I be talking about? What do y'all want to hear? I'm just a woman like figuring out life, and I'm hoping that whatever I'm doing can inspire you to do the same. So until next time, see you later.